I'm a lifestyle, I'm the new thing with a bright smile. Catch me when I'm out in public, always show them love, and I know they love it. Give you a reason to love me this season. I'm taking my chances, I hope it enhances my...
All right, welcome to America's Podcast. Today we have on...
Ryan Walker.
And...
Angel Jordan.
Cool. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Really
Doing
good.
good.
Good. So, Ryan is on because he works with me, and that's how I met him. So,
Start recording the conversations at work.
yeah, for real. We basically talk about everything, and then we started to realize, like, we're pretty similar. So, we were like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, with our career field, it's like, some people are really weird. Like, you haven't met Paul Kellogg. Oh, no, you did meet Paul Kellogg.
Did I meet Paul Kellogg?
Yeah, he was
during
one
the
of the
meeting?
yeah, he was one of those dudes in there. Everybody talks about how weird he is. Yeah, Paul, he's, I don't know. But he can barely hear, though. That's the thing. And so everybody says, like, when he's talking to you, he like but what they say, what he's trying to do is read your lips.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just like nose to nose, like.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. But
It's getting weird.
But yeah, it's pretty cool working with somebody who, like, you can talk about different stuff with, because, I mean, I guess some of the guys in the back, like all the mechanics and stuff, they all are usually from this area, and so like you, like being in the Army, like you've been places, like you've done stuff, so it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, I always feel like one of the good things about the military is there's so many backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like you meet people from everywhere with so many different beliefs, but then like you said in the maintenance side of things, where like all of them they all know each other before OC, and they all got family intertwined and stuff like that. But like at the same time,
See if you can raise your mic a little bit more. Yeah. Keep it like I guess
straight ahead,
mouth level or whatever.
All right. But at the same time, like going from back when I was a mechanic before I went electrical, two different types of people. You know, like as far as the people that want to go to the tech side of things, as controls and the robots or whatever, and the people that want to fix gearboxes and swap rollers. They're two completely different, I think, mentalities there.
Yeah. So you've got a pretty crazy background as far as jobs and stuff. Yeah. So did you, when you were in the Army, what, like right out of high school?
Well, no. I went in 2011. I've been out of school since 2008. Yeah.
Okay. So
I dropped out at the 8th grade.
I forgot you. I keep forgetting.
Barely even seen the doors of high school.
So,
but I went to the Army, and I was aviation, so I was an avionics tech, which was pretty much all electrical, except for like some things with the weapon system where we had like mechanical things going on. Then when I got out of there, I went to a job that was controls with landmark, and there's controls on like landfills and stuff, monitoring gas and liquid inside the hills of the landfill, and it's all got to be monitored. And so I had my electrical background within aviation, but it wasn't strong enough to be controls yet. And so and they were making me dig ditches, and I'm not a ditch digger. So I went to Hino, and that's there is no mechanics, there is no electricians, there's the machine's broken, fix it. And so I got a lot of knowledge there. Hino was the best place I could have ever went to outside of the Army. And
what do they make there?
They make rear axles for the Toyota Tacoma and Tundra. They also make steering knuckles. They used to make the frames for the Hino trucks. Their Hino is its own company, but they actually, that factory in itself makes parts for Toyota. Like Toyota contracts them out to make parts, but Hino is actually its own vehicle manufacturer in Japan as well. Like, two completely different companies. They just do a lot for Toyota.
But they don't make like their own cars or nothing, though.
Well, they have their own trucks, like 18-wheeler trucks.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And they're just now starting to make their way Western. A lot of like Western trucks, you don't see the flat nose, and because they don't like that look. But if you go like say Middle East, Asia, parts of Africa, every truck and bus has a flat nose. And so Hino, I guess, wanted to hit that Western market, and all they had to start doing was put a nose on their truck, and now you start to see them everywhere.
That's crazy.
It is. It's really weird. They do come through every now and then, because I never noticed them, but after I started working at Hino, you'll see that it's like a H, just like a the sides of the H are like a circle. Then you got the line going through, and that's a Hino truck.
Oh, so you started noticing like the trucks
I started
on the road?
noticing that they do exist. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But like I said, most of their money though comes from making the parts for Toyota. The Toyota trucks sell a lot more than Hino trucks or any 18-wheeler. You know, usually when somebody gets those, it's like 20, 30 years, and that truck's going to be on the road.
Yeah.
And nowadays, people are upgrading their cars like they do their phone. You know,
Yeah.
you got to have that. Last year, 2 years ago, you know, then I'm out there with my 1990 Chevy Caprice. Love that thing.
Well, some people just love older cars. Like, I mean, even myself, like, I love up-to-date stuff, but what is that Mustang? I want to say it's like a 76 or something like that. It's a popular older Mustang, and I love it. Or 67. I think it might be 67.
Is it a Mustang? 67 like Chevelle. A lot of
yeah.
people talk about the 67 Chevelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like one of those that year is like just nice. And it's something about it.
The older cars, like one, they look better. I love a hard, sharp body car.
Yeah.
But there's so much room to work on. It's super simplistic. So it's like the wires are for the lights and the radio. There is no real electronics going on in the motor. You know, like you still, I think, like on mine, I still have an O2 sensor that detects the oxygen through there to either ramp up how much fuel's going in or lower, you know, and that's like the only electronics to my engine is that and spark plugs. That you don't have electronic fuel injection. It's carb. It's just dumping fuel in there and flipping it over.
Yeah.
That's that car. If you worked on it, it'll be running in another 40 years. But these newer cars, and they're just so complicated. You got to take them to a shop, and that's annoying. They got the sideways engines on the front wheel drives. You can't work on those.
Yeah.
And they did that one, like it is more efficient, like fuel wise and stuff like that. It's a simpler car for a user, but the fact that you have to take it to a shop, pretty sure they did that on purpose. You know, because America has laws to where you have the right to work on your stuff, right to repair. We have laws to protect you from that. So the if this label's removed, it voids warranties. Like, so if you go to work on it, it voids the warranty of the manufacturer. But Tesla, when they try not to sell you parts, they can't do that. You have the right to repair. That's why that YouTuber that fixes all the Teslas, they'll try to give him hell on the phone, but they have to sell him the parts. He has the right to fix.
That's crazy.
That. Yeah, once you buy it, you're allowed to repair it. They cannot keep you from being able to repair your things. And so now the way that they do that is make it more complicated to work on. Make special tools and stuff like that, but they have to sell you those special tools.
That pisses me off more than anything.
And that's where they make the money too. When you got to buy that special wrench and it's $1,000,
Yeah.
and it's like instead of a 13 millimeter, it's a 13 and a half. That's ridiculous.
Well, two people who have capitalized that are definitely Tesla and Apple. Like Apple has capitalized on, hey, this is the thing that we made. Remember that we made this, so you have to get it from us. So,
and I can't remember that. There's a YouTuber that trashes Apple. He used to be like one of the what do they call the people? Apple Genius or Genius people?
know.
It's the people at the Apple shops that actually fix stuff.
Okay.
I can't remember what they're called. He was that for a long time. Now he's got his own shop up in New York, and he's got a YouTube channel where somebody will take like their MacBook to one of them Apple shops, and that Apple shop was like, "Oh, sorry, we can't fix that, but you can buy this one," you know. And then so they'll go to him, and he'll go through he's got like these really good cameras that pick up like the PCB boards and the little microchips and stuff like that. He's an amazing solderer. But yeah, he will show, and it's like this one little, say like corroded part of the board that was like the screen wasn't working anymore. He'll go through there, take it off, resolder it, boom, MacBook's working. But the Apple store wouldn't fix it. They're like, oh, you just got to buy a whole new computer. And all they would do is end up fixing it and reselling it, as a refurbished.
That's wild. Yeah, Apple, they make great products. Like they've definitely created their market for who they want to sell to. Like HP and Lenovo and like all those companies are like, we made this stuff, buy it. But like Apple's like, we want certain people to use our stuff. That's why they put the word pro after a lot of their stuff, like MacBook Pro and the Mac Pro, because they're gearing it toward professionals. So they're like, we're going to make high-end stuff, charge you high-end prices, and we're going to see who really wants to buy our stuff. And ballsy move, but
yeah, it is, and I understand that to a point, not on the consumer level, but that's the reason. Like when you find people that can repair the stuff, when they can work on it themselves and fix it and troubleshoot it, most of the time they don't have Apple. They have the Lenovo's, the HPs, the PCs that you can upgrade till the end of time. You know,
Yeah.
you can as long as the processor and the RAM is able to come out, they can upgrade it later on. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the best. That's the main reason why I stick with PC is because I can swap out a part and I got another 5-6 years before I got to do anything to it.
Yeah.
Instead of having to buy that new one every time, and that's what Apple wants you to do is every time they come out with one, buy one.
Yeah.
So they got all the trouble for slowing old phones down. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually so with that computer, so I still have the laptop back there, but so I was trying to edit a video that I had made, and the computer just kept crashing. And I mean, I found out that Adobe will do that to you, but it was the computer. It was just a trash computer. I think it had like a 1.8 processor, gigahertz processor in it, and so it just wasn't handling what I needed. And
Yeah, 1.8 is like nothing.
yeah, it's terrible.
If you ain't got 2.8 or 3.2, yeah, you're way off. Yep.
So I ended up, I was like, I'm about to drop some racks on a computer. And I had a friend who suggested I buy power to me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I go on there and I'm just like looking at all the specs and stuff. I learned so much just trying to, if you ever want to learn something, buy stuff. Because that is how I learned about computers was I needed to buy
Well,
something.
research what you buy too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I'm just like looking at all this stuff. I was like, I don't know what any of this is. So I had to research all of it. And then as time went on, like as I'm looking at the stuff, I'm like, I could get that, but then I want this. And then I'm like, I don't want to spend all this money and then realize I should have bought the more expensive thing. So the money just kept building up.
But the best thing about that, okay, so if you say spend that money on the MacBook Pro or the whatever that trash can looking thing is
the
that
Mac
they have.
Pro.
Yeah, the Mac Pro, which it's a beast, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That thing is amazing. But if you were to get that and then regret your decision,
You're
can't
stuck.
do anything.
Yeah, you're stuck.
If you buy
with it.
that and you're like, oh, I should have got this graphics card, you could sell that on eBay like that
Yeah.
and then get the other graphics card, and it's plug and play.
Yep.
You swap it out. Like the drivers, you may have to add depending on what you change on there, but a PC is a plug and play thing. You get the motherboard, it's all done from there. You put the RAM on there, put the graphics card to, if you ever get another graphics card, you unplug it and plug it in, and it does it. You know,
Yeah.
it's my favorite part about it is RAM.
Yeah.
Every time they come out with more and more RAM, you can just,
Yeah.
get RAM hungry.
But yeah,
When
I
you get
actually I just upgraded the RAM on that thing. I added 32 more gigabytes, so now I'm at 64. I started out with 32 and I added 32 more.
And what'd you say you ended up finding out when it wasn't working at first?
You talking about the? Oh no, that was
That was a
my-
hard drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my
I had to format it.
SSD.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I had to format it. I made a video on YouTube, and I actually started my own page on YouTube called Hendo Help. Because I was like, there's probably a ton of people out there who need help doing stuff. They just don't know what.
I've actually thought
something
about that.
is.
Like, I thought about creating I did the YouTube gaming thing for a while, right? But, me, I take pride in most of my knowledge comes from YouTube and Google. So I've thought about going on on YouTube and not really telling people, like, how to do things.
Yeah.
But how to find, like, when you have a problem and you don't want to type out this paragraph on Google because Google's not going to understand it. You're like, okay, I got this going on.
And then Reddit doesn't help you out.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that. Or Quora, however you say that website.
I just heard about. My wife was just telling me about that.
So it's a really good site. If your questions get answered correctly,
Yeah.
and you can always vote for the best and stuff like that. And it does answer a lot of questions. But like to be able to find out how to word your question. So like say the hard drive formatting, you'd go on there and say, I can't get this hard drive to work. But what you could end up wording it on Google is a different way of how to install a new hard drive. Instead of saying, hey, I got a hard drive and it's not working, and then people are trying to troubleshoot why it's not working, just start from the beginning. How to use a new hard drive. And then
Yeah.
I bet you in one of the steps are going to tell you format,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
knowing how to go about finding the problem. Same thing with, like what we do, ladder logic.
Yeah.
Knowing how to problem solve and troubleshoot is something that a lot of people really don't have. They don't know where to start and to get to that finish point because they get distracted. And YouTube and Google can, but that's how I learned some stuff. Is 'cause I end up way over here.
Yeah.
Like doing music and stuff like that. Back in 2012, 2013, that's when I got into native instruments and I had my little MIDI drum kit and stuff like that. And using YouTube and Google and that is where I found Blender, which is when I started getting into 3D modeling and stuff like that. You know, I get interested in a lot of different things, but it's because I'm trying to fix something or work on something, and then all of a sudden and now I'm over here coding games in the past few weeks. YouTube and Google is a fantastic thing, and knowing how to find things on there. Yeah, and some people try to look on like Facebook. There was seen a meme, and it was this dad like searching like different things on Facebook, and he's like by the end of it, he's like, "Why is this not working?" And it's just like status after status, how to post to Facebook, and he posted it to Facebook. And it's like, no.
Oh man!
If only there was a YouTube page to show them how to do it.
I've actually, I think I was trying to, gosh, what was I trying to do? I think I was either trying to search something or post something, but I did the opposite. Like I was trying to like search something, but I think I posted it on Facebook, or I was trying to like post something and I just searched it on Google, and I was like, what am I doing? Too many search bars. But anyways, yeah. Back to the whole Mac and freaking compared to PC. So yeah, when I was searching for all the parts for that, I actually went overkill. I needed a faster processor, and I got a harder work. I basically got the 18-wheeler of processors. It's the 2970 WX. So it's a 24-core AMD Threadripper, and I should have actually went with like I think they have like a 16 core. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like a 12 core, but it runs at like 3.5 gigahertz or something like that, and this one runs at 3. Mm-hmm. So I actually should have went with the faster one.
So like what I try to explain to people, like when I explain processors and RAM is your like push. Like so, if I'm trying to push a car by myself, right? I'm the processor pushing this car. And then you get behind me and you start pushing me to help me push that car. You're the RAM. I'm the processor. I'm the one fixing this problem, getting this car out of the road. You pushing behind me, you're the RAM. You are pushing me faster. But now the way the cores work, it would be more of if you have one funnel and you pour a bunch of sand down it, that sand coming through that funnel is the things that are being processed, and that's your single core. Now, if you take 6 funnels in a tank, pour a bunch of sand, it's going to come through all of them. Mm-hmm. And then you take something that fits in that tank and you push it down, that sand is going to be coming out faster. But now if you have too much RAM and not enough, so say the skinnier the funnel end would be like 2. And as you get fatter, it's 3. But if you put too much RAM behind there, you're going to end up clogging it. And when you clog that funnel, then the RAM's going to have to back off. Your processor peaks. You know, it's like, oh, you know, then your RAM peaks and everything could just that's when you get that lag and that staggering, especially with if you try rendering, like high video effects and stuff like that. Anything that takes a lot of rendering, that it's going to throttle bad. So when you get, say, 8 cores, but you have 3.5 gigahertz, that is so much better than 24 cores at 3.
Yeah.
Because depending on your RAM, there's a balance. There's always a balance, and knowing what that is, there is overkill of cores. Like a lot of people, oh man, it's got so many cores. That means you got more funnels.
Yeah.
But if all those funnels are moving at 3, and you got how many gigs of RAM?
64.
64 gigs,
yeah.
Exactly. 64 gigs of RAM pushing on the back of that. You still need processor speed. Just because you have 64 gigs, and if you go like 1 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz, something like that, you're throttling your processor, and then you'll actually lose lifespan on your processor. Makes the heat. That's why cooling is so important. Keeping it cold is also going to help it move faster. Everybody knows that about electronics. Electronics want to be cold.
Yeah.
You know, because they'll heat up really quick. Yeah. But pushing too much, that RAM is nonstop pushing.
Yeah.
So you'll overheat it, lower the lifespan, and it'll get slower and slower over time. The more gigahertz, the better. More than cores, you know. But you never want like a dual core, because then...
Yeah, that laptop I had was a quad core.
Quad core, yeah.
And I was trying to do some actual video editing in Adobe, and it was like, yo, bro, this is not enough. I need help.
See, I actually think... no, it's an octa-core, my desktop. I think I had a laptop that was... It was MSI. Yeah, it was an MSI laptop. It was back when they first came out with the... It's like their answer to the HP Omen. I can't remember what they called it. I think it was GTX, MSI GTX. But it was a quad core, and it had, I think, 32 gigabytes of RAM. It went at like 2.6 gigahertz. And actually, the same thing with like I'm talking about the RAM. I took one of the RAM cards out and lowered it to 16, and it went faster. And that kind of proved my whole theory of RAM and
crazy.
processor. I lowered the RAM to 16, and my computer ran faster because that's right around when I discovered Blender. And Blender, like it's 3D modeling and stuff like that, like what they do for Disney and Pixar. The rendering of that takes forever. Like I'd make this one little like cool thing, and then like go to render it. I couldn't touch my computer for 3 days because it's processing that picture. But took that RAM card out, then it'd be like 2 days instead of 3. I was like, that's a big deal though. That's a
wild.
lot of sampling and light tracing. Rendering's weird. Rendering is very weird, especially like so if I was to like model this out, right? And I say your light there, I was to put that into my scene. So light bounces. Everybody knows that. Light bounces, and that's how you get illumination, When you are modeling something in a scene and you add a light to it, the processor is figuring out how many times would that light bounce before, it stopped. And you can change it to where like the light bounces 1 or 2 times and then it no longer processes it, but then your scene's going to look weird, and then you'll have noise and stuff like that, and then you also have samples. Sampling is where it's like, so if I like blink my eye one time, or like say my eyes are closed and I went like that, and then I tried to draw that, like what I just seen, whatever, like say I go to a whole nother room, try to draw it out. Terrible. But if I sit there and look at it and then like draw it out, I'm going to be at a very better representation. And that's all rendering is. Same thing with like videos, music, stuff like that. It's your computer looking, reading, whatever, but processing it through computer knowledge or talk, which is codes and ones and zeros. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy stuff to think of what rendering is. But there's a lot of good people on YouTube. If you ever are, it's like Blender Guru.
I never heard him.
Well, he's a 3D modeler. He actually worked with Marvel using Blender. He does like Blender tutorials and stuff like that. And dude's amazing. And him and a few other people now have videos of like they got to work with Marvel doing the Avengers movies, but got to use Blender, and it's a free program. Anybody can use it. Like it's one of the big stepping stones of where those $1,000 programs are way more accessible because it's open source. So the people that have worked on those $1,000 programs could be like, this program had this really cool feature, so we're going to add it to the Blender. We're going to make where you have the same access that anybody else has, except for the render farms. Yeah, so you still have to render it on whatever toaster you have in your room. Yep.
Yeah, toaster is the right word, but like, I mean, this room is the furthest from my my AC unit, so this is naturally going to be like one of the warmer rooms in the house. But yeah, that thing it gives off a lot of heat.
Yeah, same with mine. I have 2 vents in my bedroom, but if that computer's on, one, you'll hear it come on every now and then. It's getting pretty old at this point, that computer. It's probably 8-9 years old.
Oh, wow.
So, and the only thing I'm probably going to change on it is actually put liquid cooling in it. It's got the, like that one right there. I can't remember what kind of liquid cooling it is, that 2 hose. It's just return. I don't even think it changed anything besides a couple of degrees. It was like I
don't even know how liquid cooling works. Like, I know it's cooling the processor, but how's it actually cooling the processor?
the same way that your radiator cools your engine. So radiator, right, and coolant. Coolant's running through your engine. Then it goes to the radiator, which is behind the fan. No, in front of the fan. So the wind coming through the hood of your car hits the radiator, cools all of that coolant back down, and then puts it right back through there. So if sitting still, the thing that keeps that radiator wind on it is your fan, that big fan. If you turn that fan off, eventually you're going to lose cooling. So that water's just going to heat up. Your car overheats. Boom. You lock the block. So it goes out up to that fan. That fan cools the liquid back down, and it returns to the processor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, this is cool and all. I paid good money for it, but I have no idea what's going on.
Well, see, thanks to Wish.com and like Alibaba and GearBest and all of them, they have this. I actually seen it on Tested YouTube channel. I don't know if you ever, Adam Savage from the Mythbusters.
Yes,
he has his own YouTube channel. He does a lot of one-day builds, like really cool stuff. But they had made this. They took, I think it's like from the 70s or 80s, this spacesuit, and I don't know if you've ever seen the old spacesuits. They had coolant in them. They had all these little tubes that go over like the hot spots of your body and stuff like that. And all it does is exactly the same thing. It runs water through the suit down to this little fan and cooler, but it actually uses Freon too, just like a house AC. And so yeah, I think it lowered its temperature by like 20 degrees. Anyways, it goes through there and cools it down, then sends it back. And so that's what I'm thinking about getting, because now they're so small. Before they were like, spacesuit. It's probably this massive piece of machinery on its back, but now it's really small. So the liquid cooling, I'm thinking about hooking up, because I have that right there, like the same, just 2 hose setup. Pop that off of there, little Freon. I got AC running to my processor. The thing's getting hot. I could probably boil an egg on my computer right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, that thing is pretty toasty. Like, in the winter, it was really nice because I was like, I got a freaking heater right here.
Exactly, yeah. No,
but in the summer, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Get a thermal camera in here and see actually how hot it is.
Well, I've got that freaking, whatever. Oh, GeForce. Is it GeForce? Oh, no, Asus. Mm-hmm. It's a Asus Turbo GeForce RTX graphics card. Mm-hmm. So GeForce has their own like GeForce Experience or something like that to like play games, but Asus has their own software to monitor your graphics card. Kind of like how you can like AMD has their I forgot what it's called, but like you can like overclock your CPU. Asus has it for that graphics card, and so it's telling me like how hot it is and stuff like that. But it's always in Celsius, so I'm just having to do the math on how hot this is. But
that's really hot.
100 Celsius is 212 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 100 Celsius, because it's like 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, okay. So it's freezing. Yep. So 100 degrees Celsius is 212 Fahrenheit, which is boiling water.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Celsius makes way more sense than what we use in Fahrenheit, because 0 is freezing and 100 is boiling water. But at the same time, it's like, all right, we went from 32 to 212, and they only went 100 degrees, but whatever.
And I don't want to be quoted wrong. I really don't want to be quoted. You know how I am. I like to know what I'm talking about. But I really feel like the reason we went Fahrenheit is because of the actual
America.
The mercury thermometer is more accurate in Fahrenheit than it is in Celsius. Whether that makes sense or not, because you can always relate. But like when the mercury thermometer first came out, which I believe was out in a lot of things came out in early Europe. As technology changed there, but that's the reason we went Fahrenheit. And even like Great Britain and all that stuff before the Revolutionary War, right? When we came over here, we kept all of that, and then they all changed it, and now they talk shit on us. Lowly American.
So did we?
How many feet do you have?
Did we use the metric system like when Americans first came over here, like the colonies and whatnot?
We use the imperial, the feet. Inches.
So we use that first.
Yeah, okay. But that's what we knew coming over. That's what we used, and we just never changed it. And then the metric system came. It's always been around. Yeah, 1,000's been 1,000 forever. Yeah. So once you made that into a measurement, that's a measurement. But the same thing with like a meter and a yard. A meter and a yard are they're a little different. They're both 3 foot.
Yeah.
But or how many? Or 3 meters is, I don't even know. It's 3 foot. Yeah. A yardstick is
Close
3
enough.
foot. Yeah. And a yardstick's 3 foot. So I actually think it's a little longer than a meter, because a meter is 3 foot. But
so like a meter is like right outside of 3 feet?
Yeah.
Like 1 meter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then a yard is exactly 3 feet. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. A yardstick is 3 foot long stick.
Oh, okay.
And then a meter is
just a little bit.
It's very close to it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that was because of I want to say it's because England and like Britain as itself like invaded everywhere, So invading everywhere, what's the easiest way to teach people? Here's 1.
Yeah.
Here's 1,000. We call this the kilometer.
Yeah.
And it's just an easier thing to teach the world that they're invading, and we just stuck with the original. Like the foot and inches. I believe that's older than I could be wrong, but I really think that we came over here with the imperial system is it Imperial Standard?
Yeah, I think it's Imperial.
Is
yeah.
it Imperial?
Yeah.
Yeah. We came over there with that system, and then they started swapping to the metric. Like, I really feel like we had this first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like if you actually like take a
Care about
look.
vape in here?
No. No. Well, I do care. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you said. Yeah.
But yeah. So if you actually pay attention to like how different countries are and like how they're set up, you can just trace it back to who conquered them.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Like, what was it? I was just looking it up earlier today. Something that I never knew. There was a whole race of Aboriginal people in Australia, the Tasmanians, right? Like Tasmania is a place that little animal comes from. The Tasmanian devil is in the Looney Tunes and stuff like that. Back in it's called the Black War. Back when Britain first went over there, you know, Australia was a place that took a lot of convicts to convicted people, and then boom, it's a country. But back during the Black War was in like 1806 to like 1830 something. They actually wiped out an entire race there, almost. Like I think there was like 1,700 left. But now,
Jesus.
like if you find anybody that lineage, right? They don't remember it. They remember being helped by the Britons. I just found this all out today, like a little while ago. That when you were in your house, I was, you know, me. I'm just doing that. Somebody shared a meme
Down the
and it
rabbit
was talking
hole.
about like the last Tasmanian person or whatever that was killed in like 1830 something. It was like the last known one that was still a part of that tribe. But like now there's still Aboriginal people there, but they're all westernized and stuff like that. And the way that they think about it is that they were helped, and they're Western too, but it's like they're black Aboriginal people. They killed all your people, but they don't know it.
That's crazy.
They were conditioned and taught and this and that. You know, the same thing with like with the super Christian and religious like African communities. They weren't raised that way. They were invaded and taught that.
Yeah. I have a huge problem with that, like being a black dude, but it's so crazy just thinking about that, because like if you look at black history, like not even black, African, like true African people, everybody knows that Egypt is a part of Africa. If you actually look at, I mean, so that's also a huge debate. Like you want to talk about, it's kind of like Egypt's in Africa is almost like calling somebody in West Virginia the South, or it's like it is, but it ain't. Like, or
well, they say the Mason-Dixon line, and there's a lot of states under the Mason-Dixon line that I don't consider the South.
Yeah, right. So
even Kentucky, I hate Kentucky.
Egypt was kind of like its own thing, and then even like some of the countries that are surrounding it, they weren't like Congo or Chad or Nigeria, stuff like the people are just completely different.
Yeah.
But ancient Egypt, like the pharaohs and stuff like that is known for African like religious beliefs and stuff like that.
100%.
So for black people, American black people, for them to say their roots is Christianity, it's like, what?
Well,
You have it mixed up.
and the thing, like, I mean, I was actually telling her, I don't think any religion can talk about another religion. Like, you can believe in what you want to believe every day of the week.
Yeah.
What you should not do is talk about somebody else's. Everybody believes they're right, and that's the part of a belief. But my whole thing with like they say the African roots and stuff like that is not necessarily that they went over there and like preached their religion or anything like that. It's the fact that they killed hundreds, if not thousands, every time, and then taught them that. And I think that's what makes like say, you know, you talking about the roots. Like some people get angry when they hear African Americans talking about, you know, Christianity in itself or Catholicism or any of that. They get angry because it's like, that's not where you're from. You were taught that. And it's understandable because, yeah, you got invaded and then you got taught this religion that's not where you came from. So it's not where you came from. I don't think it's necessarily bad that they believe the way that they believe, but to say it's a root, yes, that's not what, you know, you were conditioned to believe what you're believing in right now. Everybody believes they're right. The way that America gets a lot of stuff because of pre-Civil War and the Civil War, but like Britain, man, they were bad. Like,
Well, they were I believe France.
I think they were still
Spain.
was that Lutheran? Lutheran is
Lutheran.
Yeah.
That's one of the.
That's a big thing they were pushing around back then.
So when I was stationed in North Dakota, a lot of people up there, like I was never around. Like I'm from Alabama. Lutheran is not a thing in Alabama.
No, yeah, well, it died out pretty quick, I think. Overall.
So in North Dakota, there's a lot of Lutheran, and there's a lot of there's something else up there. But there was a lot of Lutheran. I mean, there's a lot of Catholics up there.
Ain't that where the New King James Version came from? Was to wipe out Lutheran?
I don't know.
Because there was King James, and that Lutheran dude was going around burning Bibles all over the place and preaching his way of believing. And then I really think that the New King James Version came after to wipe out all the people that were believing in Lutheran. I can't remember what the big difference in Lutheran was. Mm-hmm. But it was pretty much, kings wanted people to believe the way that they believed. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Whether they were all Catholic or not, kings were like, no, my way of practicing Catholicism is right. My way of practicing Christianity is right. And I think Lutheran was actually one of the roots of Christianity in what it is today.
Yeah.
And then the King James dude that came out with the King James Version of the Bible is what wiped out Lutheranism in itself. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was... I'd probably say Catholicism and Lutheran were like the two big like religions up there.
Yep.
And I think it actually roots from there was a lot of Scandinavian people up there. Like there was a lot of them that were, gosh, I forgot what all the Scandinavian like countries are, but they had like their own festival up there, and I was like, this doesn't happen in Alabama. But yeah, it was pretty cool knowing that people stick to the roots. People hey, this is what we think, what we should be doing, and they just keep doing it. So I mean, that was pretty interesting.
And like I said, that's completely like I think everybody is okay to believe in what as it doesn't harm, hurt, whatever. Like the principles of America, was it pursuit of happiness? Oh, life, as long as it doesn't mess with my life, liberty, or my pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness, yeah.
So you can do whatever you want to do, whether you want to be one of the celebrity Scientologists with the alien Zulu or Xeno, whatever, crazy... See, and I'm saying that it's crazy, but at the same time, they have the right. But there's so many behind the scenes of like Scientology. It's a money grab. It's 100% of it. You can't even go and like visit the church without buying like this $60 book. And there's these two dudes that are blowing up on YouTube right now because they invaded the Scientology church. It was almost like loan sharks, man. He's like, oh, I left my wallet at my friend's house, and they're like, oh, can he bring the book, or can you bring your wallet? Can you bring your wallet? Because we really want you to get this book. This book was like this thick, dude, super thin. And they're like $60, and he's like, no, I'll come back, and they were like almost not letting him leave the church because they wanted him to buy that book.
Oh my God!
He ended up getting the book, right? He ended up getting the book because he wants to move up.
Yeah.
And every single visit. Money. Get this book, take this test. It's like $300 for this little test where you hold these two things. And he said, and he played the test, right? Because they try to get you to think that this little gauge is going to go up depending on how you're feeling, right? And he's got like this hidden camera and stuff, and they don't know about it. They find out later, and I thought they were going to kill him. But he's like, however hard you squeeze the things, you can watch that gauge jump. So and because he's like the little subtitle on the bottom, he can't say it to the camera, but like the little subtitle on the bottom, he's like, I started testing it, so I didn't squeeze any harder as he's asking the questions, and the gauge stopped moving. And the Scientologist dude was like, fuck, it's not working. He started, oh shit. And then, but later on when they found the camera dude, they like left him locked in this room, like where he was doing like one of his little Scientology interviews, because they had this life energy level. Real crazy stuff, but it's obviously a money grab, and that's why they don't want the cameras and this. But there was what's that woman from King of Queens?
I don't know.
I can't think of her name. She talks about the Scientology church a lot. She was raised there, and so anyways, like I said, we can't trash other religions. We can trash that one. Fuck that
But-
one. But, yeah.
But-
So I think everybody is okay to believe in whatever they believe, especially when it comes down to like almost all of them nowadays believe in the same God, but they'll argue. You know, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Catholics, Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, they all believe in the same God.
Yeah.
Why tear countries apart over it?
Yeah.
You know, like that's the biggest. No matter how peaceful your God is, he's not very peaceful if you're using him as an excuse to slaughter other countries. You know, like Israel and Palestine, I cannot stand
The
that
crusade.
conflict. Yeah, that whole conflict. And then in the Middle East, they're fighting like they're all Muslim, and they all have like different ways. Like the Kurds are more like what old Middle East was. Like if you went to Kuwait or Saudi Arabia in the 60s or 70s, you know, there's women in bikinis on the beaches. And then they got invaded by Western culture, not necessarily invaded, but the culture all of a sudden, boom, like here's Western movies and this and that. And so I think a lot of the older folks of the Muslim community was like, hold on, it's about to ruin our entire culture. So they're like, cover the women up. You know, well, they've always had chop block square in Saudi Arabia where they, you know, chop heads off, hands off. If you steal, you lose a whole hand. That's wild. But the fact that the Yemen is a Muslim country and a war with Syria, which is a Muslim country, and it's all over like very, very minute different beliefs of their own religion. Like, what if all the Baptists were fighting the Pentecostals right here in America?
That'd be
That
wild.
it'd be wild, you know, like the Pentecostals out there, blah, 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 you know.
Talk about
No
entertainment.
offense to the Pentecostals. Like,
Yeah, that would be hella
yeah,
entertaining.
it'd be wild. But that's what's going on in the Middle East. And to me, the whole, like, them seeing what's going on in the rest of the world, where, like, you see in America, as many problems as America has, we have so many different religions that do coincide with each other.
Yeah.
But if you go to Saudi Arabia and you talk about Jesus being the Messiah, you get your head chopped off. You know, they believe he is a prophet. They believe he's on the same level as Muhammad. You know, and they, you know how they say don't draw the prophet of Muhammad? They're the same way about Jesus. You cannot have like a picture of Jesus. They don't think you should be able, because we didn't see him.
Yeah.
And they feel like it's an insult to draw, or and it's kind of not to kill somebody over it.
Yeah.
But they think it's insulting to try to draw someone that you don't know. Like even if you try to draw one of the old kings that you never seen, they get offended by it. But Saudi Arabia, you try to draw Prophet Muhammad.
That's interesting. Yeah, I always love. I've got a good bit of books on like religion and stuff, and I've got a friend who writes books about it, and it's just crazy, like seeing the differences in like how people view stuff and like how they used to do things and how they do things now. Like the food, like how people. Is it Muslims that don't eat ham or pork or something like that?
Yeah, they don't eat pork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jews aren't supposed to.
Right.
Really?
Really. Judaism and Muslim, almost to the T, the exact same.
Really?
Yes. They have the same, don't eat pork. They do the Ramadan. Jews don't call it Ramadan. I can't remember what it's called. And I don't think it's a month long. It's like a Sabbath, which I think Ramadan is pretty much the same. It's a Sabbath. It's a where you don't eat for a while. You fast, you know, because Jesus didn't fast. And that's the same reason they have Ramadan. It's good. You know, a lot of people like, especially Christians, talking about Muslims, you know, like they say that Muslims don't believe in Jesus. Muslims believe in Jesus more than Jews do. They just, like Jews, don't think he was the son of God. They think he was a prophet.
Yeah.
But like Judaism and Muslims, like I said, exact same thing. Their big fight is over land, and that's stupid. You know.
Oh yeah, Israel is like a huge, because that's like supposed to be like the holy ground, and like
Jerusalem is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jerusalem, and so they've been fighting for years.
Here's my thing with
To
Jews,
the death.
and this is a terrible thing to say. My thing with Jews, the promised people, they've been through a lot of crap to be the promised people.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if like maybe back in the day during like Moses when he led them out of Egypt, or was that Moses that led them out of Egypt?
Yeah.
When he led them out of Egypt to get them somewhere, they messed up. You know, Moses even messed up once. He instead of telling the people that the water from the rock was from God, he almost claimed it himself. It was the only time Moses ever sinned. He was almost on par with Jesus. And Moses' one sin was not telling them that water was from God. But like that was one of the mess ups. There was so many mess ups along that way. Like I don't think they're the promised people.
That's thousands of years of mess ups.
I can't remember how old Moses was. He was crazy old. Like, in biblical terms, he's old. But they could have measured years different. That's another thing. People are like, oh, Abraham could have been 300-400 years old.
Yeah.
They may have measured years differently back then. We have no idea that they had 365 days in a year. They could be like the beginning of winter, right? Oh, that's the start of the year, end of the winter. Oh,
yeah.
The cold year is over.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know how they measured. Julius Caesar is the one that came up with the 12-month system.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they done before that, and so none of us can claim that they went 300 years old.
I saw something funny on Twitter one time. Somebody was like, who messed up, like, what is it? Oh, having like December is like DEC, which we associate with like the number 10, and then November they were like that should have been 9, and they were like Oct, it should have been 8, so October. They're like, who messed that up? And they said whoever it was should have been stabbed, and it was like it was Julius Caesar, and he got stabbed. And I was like, dang, that's pretty crazy.
There's a meme that says. My mom said that you can't make people laugh with just a picture, but it showed that Caesar dressing with a knife through it. It's like, oh, it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I love. I mean, like, so Rachel, she hates history. Well, okay, I'll take that back. She says she had a terrible time in school with history. So she says that's why she hates history, which is probably a lot of people. A lot of people had a bad time in high school, and it ruins learning for them, period.
Yeah.
But, so I got her watching Drunk History, and she's like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah. My stepdad, he sit there, I'd already known about it for like 4 months, but he'd be like, you heard of Drunk History?
Dude, Drunk History is they should get rid of, sorry if you're a history teacher, but they should fire all history and then just get students to watch Drunk History, because it's telling way better stories than what we learn. And then it's making it fun to learn the stuff. Like, a lot of times a teacher would tell a story in history and I'd be like, okay, that's kind of lame, but Drunk History makes it awesome to learn it.
See, my problem with the history class was they always made you read it. Which I like reading, I don't like reading from a textbook. That's but like I'd sit there, sleep all through history class, go home and watch the History Channel. That's where I got a lot of my knowledge. Like I'm a visual and hands-on person, and that's one of the things about school. I think me and you have talked about that before. Like the way they teach school. One is too many kids nowadays. Too many kids per class.
Yeah.
And I guess on a broad spectrum, it's really hard to individualize each kid, but not everybody learns the same. I was probably an idiot until I got my first computer. And when I got my first computer, I drew my first CAD in Windows Paint, like my first CAD drawing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I'm actually having to make each of the shapes and the lines, and I'm sitting there, and I had a little key. My stepdad was super impressed by it, but my stepdad, love him to death. He's one of them people, he's like, if you spent this much time at school, it's like, because he was asking me, like, how'd you come up, like, how'd you know you're going to need, like, these washers? Or what made you want to go with, like, butterfly nuts and this and that? And it's just, like, through my, just me of knowing what I know of the world is why I designed, and all it was like these two little wheels that you can attach to a weed eater, so you don't have to hold the weed eater up the whole time. I hated weed eating. So I came up with this whole, like, little event, and it just goes on. It would fit any weed eater, you'd roll it along, and you could rotate it and stuff like that. And I drew it out in Windows Paint, but I had a key to show all the measurements, all the parts, all of this. And he was super impressed. But, if you spent this much time, I hate that,
Yeah, I mean, I think I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast. He recently had on Tony Hawk. And he was
seen that this morning. I haven't watched it yet, though.
They were talking about the difference in, like, how...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. They were talking about how the difference in, like, just parents now compared to, like, parents back then. Because, our parents, they didn't see video games as, like, an actual recreation you should be doing.
Oh yeah, probably.
And then now kids are making millions of dollars playing video games. And then he was saying that for like Tony's parents. Like, so Tony mentions how he, when he was 17, he bought a duplex. So he lived by himself in a duplex while he was in high school, and just like still went to high school, but was a professional skateboarder. Yeah. And he was like bringing in money. People were staying over at his house, all that kind of stuff. And he was talking about, that got been kind of weird for your parents. And he was like, my mom wasn't a big advocate for it, but he said his dad was actually upset that he kept spending his money on like random stuff. So he told him to invest it. So he bought the duplex, and he was
Property's
like,
the best investment.
Yeah. So he was trying to tell him like, yo, you're making this money. I'm cool with that, but you're gonna spend it correctly. Like you're gonna spend on stuff you actually need. So it's crazy how kids nowadays have means to succeed in ways that
there's so many ways.
Our parents probably didn't think was a thing.
Yeah, and that's so like on that note, that same note, my little brother, crazy good at video games. And I mean, he was spoiled, right? So if he wanted to drop out of school and stuff like that, he could have. But like right at that peak of internet gaming, if they would have like done a little investing in him, get him a webcam, get him, on YouTube or Twitch or this or that, could have been something. Now he's got anger problems, but guess what that is? That's entertainment. Like see this little 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid raging the hell out, and the only time like he really even cussed back then is when he's playing video games. Fuck you, just stuff like that. But I would like when I was in the army at the time, I was telling him, I was like, y'all should like, because I see all these people like PewDiePie and like people like this blowing the hell up. I'm like, get him on the internet.
Yeah,
get him on the internet.
Record this.
They're like, well, he's not a people person. It's like he plays game in front of a camera.
Yeah,
and people throw money at him. Like, it's way better than stripping, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
People see you, and even like say somebody like PewDiePie on the internet for years, right? But he slipped up and said the N-word on stream, cussing. Yeah, it was years ago.
Did it like kill his career or something?
No, they tried to cancel him, but the thing is, people are stupid, especially young people.
He's too popular.
And the thing, like, even him saying that, and me, straight, white, cis male that I am, I think somebody, in his way of saying it, was not derogatory.
Yeah.
He got killed, and he said, "Oh, you," and, and they tried to cancel him for it. He went through a lot of stuff. He came out with an apology, done the whole thing.
Man.
But if you watch PewDiePie's career, that was the only time.
It just takes one.
Here it is, like 9 years later, and when he reaches a milestone in his career, Wall Street Journal, CNN, they'll all like make that little article, and they'll be like, "Hey, he just reached 100 million subscribers." But 8 years ago, he said the N-word. And I'm just like, that's terrible. But my little brother, I could see him saying like, the bundle of sticks word. Like I could see him saying that. And same thing with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, they're like, times are different. And even with times are different, I tell you, like my biggest thing, if you can't make fun of something, you can't make fun of anything.
Yeah,
you just can't, And I can understand the N-word being a problem, but the way that PewDiePie said it, I don't believe was derogatory. He was a white dude that said the word, right?
Did you see the Hannah Brown thing?
The who?
Hannah Brown. Oh man.
Yes. The chick from Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was on The Bachelorette. I don't know if you know the story, but
she was singing a rap song and said it.
Yeah, she was on Instagram Live, and she was just singing a song, and it had it in there, and like if you watch the video, it's hilarious because she's drunk and she like kind of slows down and says it. So you can tell she was thinking about it. And then
I haven't seen the video. She was thinking about it.
She thought about it and she said it anyways, and then like kind of kept it going like awkwardly, like hoping nobody heard her say it. And I was like, yikes. And I'm reading all these comments on Twitter and they're just going in. I was
if
like, her
she thought
career
about
is
it and said
done.
it, it's a problem. But like,
she thought about it.
Who is it? It was J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. I can't remember which one it was. Or maybe both. Maybe it was a compilation thing. They had brought, one of them brought like this white girl on stage and to give her a mic. and had her singing along with him, and she said it, and then he kicked her off the stage, but she was feeling it. And to me, that's
not fair.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
That is not fair at all. Like if it's a lyric of a song, I think adding that to it makes it more derogatory than it needs to be.
That's almost like a white guy telling a black dude, hey, you can create your own city. Here's some restaurant choices. We've got KFC, Popeyes. Like, which one do you want to put in the city? Like, come on now. You know what we're going to choose. I mean,
I was going to say a few more names out of the own.
So, I mean, to me, yeah, it's bad for people. Like, I hardly ever say it. Rachel doesn't want me to say it. But I think it's unfair for black people to treat white people that way, to like never say it if we say it so much. Like, in my opinion, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, it's just weird to say it as often as we do and then tell everybody else you can't say it.
Well, and that's my thing. Like, in the way that it's even used now, right?
Yeah.
Say within rap music or like talking to each other, it's literally almost as much as dude. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, screw that dude. Or I'm like, oh, screw that N-word. I didn't mean it like, oh,
yeah.
It's they've actually turned it into a more usable word than it was before. Like in the rap song.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if I'm listening to Tech Nine or Kendrick Lamar, I guarantee it's about to come out of my mouth.
Yeah,
Because I'm feeling it,
Yeah.
And if it's a lyric to the song, I'm going to sing the lyric to the song. But like you said with her, if she was like waiting on the waiting on that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
It's cringeworthy to watch.
Like she was like, are they gonna react? That?
Yeah.
What does it say? I want to say it was Chris Tucker. No, Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Yeah, he had a stand up talking about the N-word, and he said, like if you are truly offended from other people saying the N-word, the best way to not be offended by it no more. To not be offended by it no more. Like, if you hear it, just... Yeah. And then guess what? They can't use it against you. Like, somebody calls me a cracker or something like that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit there and freak out. Like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
What did you call me? I'm just not going to do that. And the cancel culture is getting insane.
Yeah.
Because of that.
There's that phenomenal quote. It's like, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to.
Exactly. Well, yes. Yeah. And like, so even though she thought about that, Hannah Brown, it's like, one, she was singing a song. Was it being used derogatory in the song?
Probably not.
Like, it's not like the Cotton Eye Joe song.
Yeah.
Or like one of the old nursery rhymes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I just watched a video the other day. Nursery rhymes were bad.
They
were
wild.
terrible. The monkeys jumping on the bed?
Yeah.
That's racist.
Have you seen that video? I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I've seen it on Facebook.
I seen it on Facebook.
You saw? Yeah.
It's probably the same video talking about nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they were saying that. Cancel them. Not even alive anymore, but cancel them.
That joke was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was even, what's that? The Pop Goes the Weasel. Have you ever paid attention to the words to that? So it's all around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The weasel thought 'twas all in fun. Pop goes the weasel. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dark. You're just talking about
I don't think I've ever heard all those lyrics.
A monkey chase all around the mulberry bush. The monkey chased the weasel, and then the weasel thought they were just having fun. Then pop goes the weasel. I was like, man, that's dark.
That's kind of wicked.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard the words. It was like I know the tune, but it's all pop. Go, like, well, I don't think I've ever known what came before Pop Goes the Weasel.
There's
Ring
also
Around the Rosy. That's about the Black Plague.
Yeah, that one's pretty wild.
Black is full of posies.
London Bridges is supposed to be kind of like a dark tone to it.
Well, I think it's because the bridge actually fell. I think it came out after the bridge fell.
Oh, really? Yeah. And then there's I think it's the story of the Pied Piper. He was like playing his flute, and then he was luring kids. Oh, I think they wanted him in the city because he kept like these rats or mice out of the city. And then he started luring kids out of the city with him, and he like kept kidnapping kids. And then like I think one of the kids was able to like break free of his spell or something. I was like, man, that's a weird.
Like, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember. Like I've read that somewhere too about the Pied Piper. I know I've read about him somewhere, and I can't remember exactly how it was. But I do know he was there for a rap problem, and then the kid thing. But I can't remember how it ended. I might have to look that up.
Yeah,
again.
it's one of
gonna
those
bug me.
weird
Yeah,
stories.
it's gonna bug me. Yep.
Yeah, all those stories are pretty crazy. I
like the old Grimm brothers, you know.
Yeah.
Cinderella's sister chopped her foot off so it fit in the glass slipper, and the only way that he knew was that there's blood. It's like there's gonna be a lot of blood. Like you ain't gotta look at the foot first. You should have chopped her heel off. There's blood everywhere, dude.
Yeah,
And a glass slipper, so you can see through it.
I love listening to like stuff that you never really thought about it at first. Even like looking back at old cartoons like Ren and Stimpy. Yo, I didn't even know that they had. I think it was I in high school? I was in high school or college when I found out that they had like the adult party version of Ren and Stimpy.
Yes.
You know they had that?
Yeah.
That was
they
wild.
I thought they had went to that. Like the Ren and Stimpy was on Kids Network or like a Kids Network. I can't remember which one it was. For a
It's
short amount
Nickelodeon.
of time, and they were like, "Hold on, this is a little too raunchy." Parents are complaining, and then it went to the like Adult Swim type.
I think they called it
eras.
adult party cartoon.
Maybe like
or
Adult Party,
something.
but yeah, it was something like Adult Swim, like just crazier shows and stuff like that. Have you heard of the regular show?
That's like my second favorite cartoon.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it goes Adventure Time. Well, actually, let me
Adventure
strike
Time's
that.
great.
I guess Dragon Ball is anime, but
Yeah.
I would say
Don't you dare call Dragon Ball a cartoon.
yeah. So yeah, anime. But out of real cartoons, I'd probably say maybe regular show's probably first, and then Adventure Time is number 2.
What do you think the origin of? I just found this out yesterday. The regular show. Where do you think it came from?
I have no idea.
Would you believe that it's 13 years old?
like the entire show is 13?
The entire concept is 13 years old.
concept.
And it's, Clerks?
Yes.
2 dudes hanging in a gas station, right? The creator of the regular show, right? It's the same person that put this video on YouTube 13 years ago. Two gas station clerks sitting in there. Both pop acid. Dude turns into a gumball machine. He turns into that tall blue bird guy.
Oh,
And then they're going through like this weird trip and stuff. And it's like terribly animated, but it's the exact same characters. You can see that it's his art,
Oh,
and he's got the animation goes. And the thing is, it came through a Facebook or a YouTube algorithm. Everybody in the comments was like yesterday and like day before, like, none of us searched for this. Here we are. And they're like, I cannot believe the regular show is
crazy.
just an acid trip. Like all those characters was from these 2 gas station clerks that were tripping on acid. The gumball machine, the big bird, the little bird, the not bear, not
Rigby's
bear.
a raccoon.
Raccoon, yeah, not a bear, raccoon, yeah. But
And then Skips is like a Yeti or something. Like he's
yeah. The big
yeah,
white,
that's Skips.
But I was sitting there watching because I really don't watch the regular show. I watched a little bit of Adventure Time, but like my generation of cartoons fell off with like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter, Ed, and Eddie, stuff like that. What was it? Foster's Home Imaginary Friend. That was a great show, fantastic show. But like when those other ones came out, like I was in the army, then I was already big into anime, so I was watching like Tokyo Ghoul and stuff like that. Adult cartoons. But yeah, I seen that yesterday. I knew the characters. 'Cause that's how influential like the regular show is. Like even if you don't really watch the show, a lot of people know the characters. That's how it became such a popular show. Like once you know it, even though you don't know it, and it was all because of 13 years ago. This dude wrote like on straight paper, like, and it's shows the characters. He's mouthing over this still picture of characters.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's like no animation to it, and it's like an acid trip, and then all the characters of the regular show 13 years ago. And now the dude has done stuff on Samurai Jack. He's done the regular show. He does a bunch of them, and that was a dude that follows. Even though, if most parents knew that their kids were watching this dude's acid trip of a cartoon, it's a gumball machine.
Yeah. I mean, every single episode of regular show is always them just like having a normal day. And then something happens and they have to get themselves out of this situation.
It's every show.
Yeah,
That's the
and
climax.
that's literally every single show. But they're like the way that theirs happens is always something that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what was that one? Oh, they were they were trying to get raises at their job, and they started. I think they found a keyboard or something, and they started like playing tunes, and they were like, "Ooh, we should make a song."
You're talking about.
Yeah, and they went up to Pops, who has like the really big head, and then they like did a song, and they were like, "Give us a raise, loser," and then he was like, "Oh," and then he like gave them like popsicles, or he gave them suckers, and then they were like, "That worked. We should try it on Benson," and so they tried on Benson, and he's like, "You know what? You're right. You deserve raises. You've been working hard," so he gives them the money, and then they made up a song, and then Rigby got the words to the song wrong. He was supposed to say something about going to your room, but he said go to the moon, and they sent skips to the moon. And I was like, how? Like, how does that make any sense at all? But
Acid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now that makes sense, is that
Yeah.
every episode is an acid trip.
Yeah.
So, dang, that's wild.
That when I seen that yesterday, like, because the first thing that threw me off, right, was well, like the two gas station clerks never seen, but now that YouTube moved the comments like above, I don't know if you noticed it, like YouTube moved the comments,
yeah.
and it's annoying though, because like I'll scroll all the way down, it's like go to the oh yeah, they're up here, right, but like while I'm watching the video, like on my phone, just like here, that first comment was I can't believe this is the regular show, and that comment was posted like yesterday.
I've got to check that out.
The YouTube algorithm's weird, dude. Like, have you ever been scrolling through YouTube and it's just like, hey, here's this video from 9 years ago that nobody's ever watched, and this person hopefully has it monetized because it's about to blow up,
Have you ever seen the video of the guy explaining the camera, like TV cameras? You never seen that? That's going to come up to you one day. But it's a guy, he literally has like one of the most expensive cameras you can buy. I think it costs like, I want to say it's like $100 and something thousand.
Oh, that's a red camera.
Yeah, he's explaining like TV cameras and like why they're so expensive. And he's trying to say like, they're so expensive because you can literally zoom like, I want to say the person he had on was like hundreds of feet away, and it never lost focus. Like the whole time it was on focus. I was like, oh my God.
That is insane.
But
is that lens or is that software?
It's both. The lens, I think, was the most expensive part. It was either like the brain of it or the lens, and it was like $50,000. And then the rest of the camera was $75,000.
Well, I was watching, the Corridor Crew that I was telling you. They were talking about a red camera one time, and they're like, here's the camera, $6,000. Once you get all the pieces to it, to actually use it in, say, a movie setting, $120,000 in this whole setup. They had it on like this gimbal, where you can like do all this and stuff but the camera's just like,
Yeah.
which is crazy. However that works,
is
gyros
wild.
and stuff to where you can, and that camera's just
Yeah.
perfectly still. I love that though. Like that's amazing to me. Whoever came up with that whole,
Yeah.
I can go snowboarding and be doing all this, and that camera's just, that's crazy.
Genius
but super
concept.
expensive. Yeah, super genius concept. Instead, because like me, if I was trying to stabilize something, I'd end up putting like two soft springs to where it's just kind of cushioning it,
Yeah.
Which I think old days, that's what it was almost something like this, but where it's just kind of cushioned better,
Yeah.
to where it's not so rough. But now, like with and it's so small, like with the gyros and stuff, like DJI, the drone
Yeah.
maker. They have a gimbal.
I've got two of them. I'll let you check
Is
them
that
out.
what it's called,
after-
gimbal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, DJI is the company, and then there's different gimbals.
You got a DJI gimbal?
I've got two of them. Yeah, I've got.
I had their $8,000 drone. I sold it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really want to get.
I could take it 17 miles out, dude.
17
miles out. It's ridiculous because I don't know what it goes off of. The controller had these massive antennas, and not 17 miles, 17 kilometers. So I think that's less actually.
Yeah, it's far less.
Yeah, but same thing. It's still far. It's super far. I'd go 70 kilometers out and then hit a button, walk in my house, go do whatever, and that thing's gonna come back by itself and land wherever I took it off from. Like, and that button, come home. So like if you get lost, doing whatever you're doing, like say in your mountain range, I can see you like losing your, like, hold on, because it doesn't have like an arrow saying, hey, you're that way.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, I don't know how to fly back. Come home, and comes on home.
That's
even if
dope.
you lose signal. So if you say 70 kilometers is the range, and you got it on sport mode, so you're doing like 50 whatever miles per hour, and you take it out, and it's going and going and going, and like before it realizes it loses signal, it's like, oh, so it uses the GPS, comes on back. Yep.
That's pretty dope.
And like takeoff, you ain't gotta worry about takeoff. You're like, hey, take off, and it'll do shoop, hover up to about eye level, and then like wait for you to give it a command. If you tell it to come home but not land, it'll come home shoop, about eye level, and then wait for you to give it a command. They make they're expensive,
Yeah.
but they are the leader. I just realized though that they had the gimbals.
Yeah.
How much the gimbal cost?
So I actually got one gimbal from, like the handheld ones that are pretty big. I've got one of those, and I actually got it from a guy who does videoing of houses, like real estate. And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, if you ever want to quit your job at Owens Corning, do this. You make a ton of money. And
I've heard that.
I was like,
When
all
I
right.
had that drone. Yeah.
I was like, all right, noted. But I got one from him. He had two of them, and he was selling both of them for $250 a piece. They're like $1,000.
I was about to say, yeah.
So
that's
I got
crazy
one
cheap.
from him. I thought about just buying the other one just so I could.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just so I could have two.
You get 3.
Yeah, right. But I got that one from him for $250, and then the other one is like the handheld. So it's the Ronin SC. So the S is a little bigger. It can hold a heavier camera, but I have the SC. It's a little smaller. But the SC is kind of cool because actually. It's right here. But yeah, the SC is cool because you can actually lock it like that. So how it's all like flat on all the parts to it. If you undo, let's see.
I don't even know how to use that thing, dude.
Oh, I'm missing.
A little heavier than I thought. It's got some weight to it.
This is the light one.
Yeah, I think definitely has some weight to it.
So yeah, if you unlock it, if I can figure out how to unlock
You got one thing right here on this side.
it there.
Oh,
So yeah, you can do all of this stuff.
you spin my head right around, right
There we go.
around.
So this is how you actually set the camera.
Okay, yeah. That one, well, I guess it has to use gyros too.
Yeah, so it's all motorized.
Yeah.
So when I'm like setting up the camera, I like basically make them loose, like loose, unlock each one.
Yeah.
And then I want to make it as stable as possible by myself. And then once I've done all of that, I turn the gimbal on, and then it uses the motors. Like these are motors.
Yeah.
So it uses the motors to keep it as stable as possible. And then it's like, all right, you're good. I use my phone. I've got an app on my phone, and it tells me to like tilt it, and then it starts just like moving and like
Kind of like
shifting.
calibrating.
Yeah, it starts calibrating. And then once it's like, all right, yeah, you're good. And so, but if I like screwed up on like the height or something, it says, hey, you need to fix the roll, or you need to fix the tilt, or you need to fix this. And then
Does it use like yaw, roll, pitch?
it uses roll, tilt, and I can't remember the third one. I'm pretty sure there's 3, but it uses roll, pitch, and I can't remember the third one.
What are all the so you got this one, this one, this one. So yeah, that one, that one, that one.
And forward and back. So
Okay,
I can do
yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
and then I keep forgetting where they all are. But yeah, if I did like this, the camera would be like this, and I could like film like this.
That's crazy, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome though. How much was that one?
This was like I want to say 400 or 500.
That's not bad for DJI is usually up there, man.
I might be lying. Let me look this up.
Like DJI is expensive.
Based off your reaction.
That's-
But yeah, I think it's well worth it. I've seen some
oh
people.
yeah, their stuff will last forever. I know I can cuss on here. I'm trying to walk on my.
I've seen some people. What is this called? Oh, Ronin SC. Or yeah, Ronin SC. I've seen some people talk about how they bought it and then just like didn't use it. They were like, I bought it, but I didn't really find that it was useful. And I was like, what are you talking about?
You know what that means? They bought something that they weren't going to use. Like, that was just them being dumb. If you're going to do any kind of, like, music videos, commercial, like, any kind of movement in the camera, because the last thing, if you handheld, like, a human can only be so steady.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, landscape, like you're talking about, like, or not landscape, homes and, what is the word I'm thinking of? Real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to do like this view of the house, something as simple as that. That right there would have the stillest picture. You know, you can't be more accurate than that thing. Like,
Yeah. It was $439 from the website.
from DJI itself.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never bought something like that. I've always looked at the drones and stuff. Their drones are super fancy that you cannot wreck it.
Yeah.
I can sit there, put it in sport mode, right? But leave my the safety things on, right? So if you put it in sport mode, leave the safety things on, it will be like 20 miles per hour less fast, you know, which is okay. But I can sit there, top speed towards that wall, and it's going and stop.
That's nice.
It's amazing. And the only time the one that I had got wrecked was my little brother was flying it, and you know those like wires that come off of a light pole down to the ground to anchor it? He somehow hit it. And I'm like, it's a 1-inch thing. How you gonna hit it? But when he hit it, it landed up. We can tell by the it's got 2 cameras on it. We can tell it landed up. I told it to take off, like this after it crashed. Fucking hit the wire, hit the ground, but it landed right up. So I told it take off. It said come home.
Nice.
Like, wow, thing's
That's
amazing,
crazy.
dude.
Yeah, I love that thing.
Super loud.
I don't know how somebody would buy it and just not use it because I love
people
it.
buying stuff like people do that all the time with phones, computers, stuff like that. Like if you're gonna buy a $4,000 computer and play Minecraft, or if you buy a $4,000 computer and you Facebook all day, it's like that's a waste of money.
Yeah.
And I think like,
Mac users.
that's the reason why tech companies kind of keep charging at prices that they do, because they're like, this dumbass ain't gonna need this.
Yeah.
We're gonna charge all of this. Yeah, and so somebody will buy it, but then they give a bad review, and so it's like, I think tech company, especially with Mac, this 60-year-old woman does not need that Mac Pro trash can, and I keep calling it trash can. It is a wonderful machine.
Yeah.
Looks like a trash can.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like a trash can.
It looks like a
cylinder
trash can.
shade, it's got the little thing in the middle.
Yeah.
If I was walking by this room, I'd throw my cup in there. Like I would. 'Cause I'm pretty sure
Nice.
it goes in right there in the middle.
That's
like,
your computer?
Good thing I drank it all. Or like, say I got like a half cup. Oh my god, that's like a $10,000 computer, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mac Pro.
Well, if you max out the Mac Pro, it's like $52,000.
50. What? There's nothing they can put in there to justify $52,000.
The 1.5 terabytes of RAM.
I could get 2 of those Quadro GPUs that can do quantum physics. It can go like Like I say, hey, is this white? It's like, yeah, it's white, but what if it was black?
Yeah.
And then like it's solving the whole thing as I'm doing it. You know how wonderful like live rendering is?
Yeah.
$52,000.
Yeah.
Man,
So
I hate Apple.
these are some of the specs. You can get it's a 28 core processor that goes to like 2.3 gigahertz.
Already out of their minds, $52,000. That's the max choice?
Yeah, 28 core processor at like 2.3 or 2.5 gigahertz. The max RAM is 1.5 terabytes, and that's like $14,000.
Of RAM?
$14,000 or $18,000. That's just the RAM.
How do they fit that in there? A terabyte of RAM?
1.5 terabytes of RAM.
But you know what's really bad about that? I bet you could do music and video, but I bet you if I tried to render a apple on my computer in Blender, it would.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's a.
yeah, it's
Unless
whatever.
it's just like that processor.
Who
dude.
knows?
It's not gonna last long.
Who knows? Oh, you can't get the 1.5 terabytes of RAM unless you get the 28 core processor.
Yeah, you got to. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
they don't
but
allow
at
you to.
2.8, I still think you're gonna shove through that funnel tip.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I've never heard of a terabyte of RAM.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do they have?
Kind of gives me chill. I can't even imagine. But that, I mean,
They've got like two. You can get.
you said that was $14,000 for that?
I think it's like 14 or 18,000 just for
that
the
much
RAM.
RAM. That's a lot of RAM. So yeah, okay.
I think you can max out at like 8 gigabytes of SSD. It might be more.
8 gigabytes
Yeah, it might be more. I don't know.
of SSD.
Yeah,
That's your hard drive.
yeah,
8 gigs.
yeah. Let me look this up. So I'm
that's
not.
you know,
so
8
I'm
gigs
not
is
lying.
little. 8 gigs is very little.
Oh, my bad. Gigs.
Terabyte. There we go. That's why I kept repeating. I was like, gigs?
like, yeah.
No. Okay, so 8 terabytes of SSD. That makes way more sense.
Let me pull this up. But yeah, it's like the specs that they have. I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong. I want to say understandable. It's not understandable because the prices are outrageous.
A terabyte of RAM.
The specs are
even
cool,
imagine.
but it's outrageous, the prices.
You know what we should do? Start a GoFundMe so we can run this computer through a ringer.
Right?
Like, that's it. Just fund us so we can buy this $52,000 computer and destroy it.
All right, here goes the specs. So we have 2.5 gigahertz at 28 core Intel Xeon W processor, turbo boost
What?
up to turbo boost up to 4.4 gigahertz. That costs $7,000.
Did Xeon step their game up? Outside of like generational Intel?
The max amount of RAM is 1.5 terabytes.
That's insane.
What it equals is 12 128 gigabyte RAMs.
I've never heard of that.
It's actually $25,000.
God, dude. Half your computer is RAM.
That's just for the
You know
RAM.
what? That's what they're doing, though. They're just,
Yeah.
that price, that's insane.
Okay, the
I didn't know
graphics
they had
card.
that.
The graphics is 2 Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duos
Nice.
with it's 32 gigabytes.
What made them go, do they do NVIDIA on Macs at all? Or is it all
Let's see.
AMD?
They've got Radeon. Yeah, it's all Radeon.
Okay, so that may be an Apple thing. Okay,
It's
that's
all
fine. It's
Radeon.
still really good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
8 terabytes SSD, which I'm actually surprised because you can actually get the MacBook Pro, the laptop. You can get that with 8 terabytes of SSD.
Well, dude, the craziest thing in all of tech is how we went from floppy disks to micro SD. And like when, you remember the PSP?
Yeah.
When the PSP first came out, the memory card for it was 32 megs. Within a year of the PSP being out,
That's wild.
we had 16 gigs. Like a year, we went from 32 megabytes to 16 gigs in the same space. And all that is swapping to ones and zeros. Because solid state, there's nothing moving. It's the exact same on each card, but they learn how to do the ones and zeros a little different.
Yeah.
And memory, I think, is one of the craziest things they've ever done.
So you can get an afterburner card. You know what that is, don't you? You can get an afterburner card. That's another $2,000.
The afterburner card's kind of crazy. That's MSI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get the wheels. That's an extra $400.
The wheels are stupid.
You can get
$750 wheels for a computer.
You can get a Magic Mouse and a trackpad. That's an extra $149.
What's the Magic Mouse?
It's just their wireless mouse. That's it.
How much is that?
If you get that and the trackpad, it's an extra $149.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then you can get Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro. Final Cut is $299 and Logic Pro is $199. And all of that totals out to $54,447.98.
All right, buy one right now. I know you got the money. Look at this house.
No. Yeah, $54,000 for a freaking computer.
It's like you hit purchase and she just comes up here. What the?
Yeah, my life is over.
Like, no, you don't understand. We're going to destroy it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, okay, that was a 28 core processor. That was a 24 core processor. I didn't pay thousands and thousands of dollars.
What we need to look up now is how much a 128 gig card of RAM is. A motherboard with 12 slots, though, that I've never seen 12 slots of RAM.
Yeah, that's
Because
pretty
you
crazy,
said that's 12
right?
times. So that
It's 12 128 gigabytes of RAM.
is the Mac Pro still that circle one?
No, it's like
Do you know that circle one I'm talking about?
it actually that one
Okay.
was actually that's what they call the trash can one. But
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, does that motherboard go like? Is the
No,
motherboard
no,
round?
It actually looks like that. The new Mac Pro.
Oh, that gray one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
it
one that you
looks
see
like that.
when they show the wheels, they show that one that's like,
Yeah. It actually has two handles that you're not supposed to hold it by.
yeah.
And you can do something, but you can just slide it up. And so you can like look on the inside. It looks actually beautiful. Like it's clean.
But that's the bad part. Like, Mac and Apple, like, or Mac is Apple, but if they would have worried more about, like, because they are good computers,
Yeah.
but the price, they justify it with the look.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, if I come into your house, that right there, to me, is more, if you had had gray old Mac over there, you know? But Mac is that trendy, like, Gucci or Yeezy, whatever, like, fancy, like,
Yeah.
and they try to do the price on the name. If they price competition with Windows, so if they try to meet Windows pricing or any kind of like HP, Dell, any PC, people, especially in like the industry of like what we go into, like say, whether it be game development, audio, Blender, movies, Mac, they would make so much, even though they're big. They're big because of the iPod, the iPhone. They're not big because of their computers, because of the pricing. If they were to one time, here's a Mac Pro, $30,000, it gone.
Yeah.
Everybody buy it because they their prioritization, like within the motherboards that they use and stuff, is so much better for rendering. That it's so much better for creation. There's way less viruses because not that many people use it. Now, that could be something they're trying to stay away from. If everybody had a Mac, all the viruses and stuff like that would be like, hey, you know, it's just one of the things. I really feel like they're good computers, but there's nothing that can justify the price.
Yeah.
52,000, 120, or
54,000.
54,000, even worse. But
That's crazy.
The RAM is the big impressor there.
Yeah.
Oh, the graphics cards though, they're fantastic on there. They really are good graphics cards. The video. How many people? How many? I want to know how many people have purchased that at max price.
I've seen some
You could
videos.
buy a house.
Yeah, right. I mean that's a $54,000 car. Like that's not out of the range of what some people would
nice
buy.
Tesla. Yeah. That's a really good Tesla.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know. Like some people just.
Which, believe it or not, that Tesla probably has the same computing power as that computer. It's got to, because that thing, like, what is it? It's almost full detection at this point on a Tesla, right? Like almost 360 degrees.
What's
They
that?
can tell what's around you.
Shoot, what's the name of that thing that they're using?
I can't remember. Like, we just looked at it the other day, but I can't think of what that area detection thing is. But it's
They
like
have like their
all
own system where it's like their cameras are used to like actually give you a top-down look. Have you seen that on the?
what?
Yeah. What is the name of that car? I don't think it's a Maybach, but it's one of like the super expensive cars. Phantom. It might be a Phantom, but the cameras.
Phantom's very expensive. Yeah.
It gives you like a top down look. So like on your dash, you can see your car from the sky, and I mean it's not like you know.
Is it like
from
a
space.
render of it, or is it the actual image?
It's an actual image because
Okay.
you can see like
That's wild.
like if you were trying to park into a parking space,
Yeah.
you can see the top down view of your car and like
How?
try to. I don't know. I don't
Like,
know.
That would take crazy stitching. Well, I mean, like if you had a 360 camera on the top, right, you would have the full view.
Yeah.
That's the reason you get you'd have everything besides what's directly behind it. So if that is actively stitching that image, that's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That Mac Pro ain't got nothing on that car. You know, that's
Yeah.
active rendering. Active rendering is the only reason why I could ever see. You don't even need 1.5 terabyte, but that's insane. I want to see how much. I want to put like the what's that Intel Duo, like where it's like 0.8 gigahertz. I want to put 1.5 terabytes of RAM
On
behind
that, yeah.
and then like just hold the one of those little thermometer guns to it and see how long it takes before it's like. Pew.
Yeah, it's just gonna collapse.
Is it done?
Yeah, it's. I mean, Apple, they're definitely doing a good thing. I definitely see.
They have fantastic machines. The
Yeah.
price, though, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, the processor, the 28 core, that's a crazy price when you can go and get it for this Windows PC for nothing. Or like
I think I said it was like $7,000, and my computer was $5,000. Actually, my computer and my screen, my monitor, everything, all
you got
that.
those comboed out.
Yeah,
That's a good
I got the
monitor.
computer, I got the monitor, I got that freaking.
Is that 32?
Yeah, it's 32
32.
inches.
That's all. Because I told you the other day I want to, look at new monitors. I think I'm going to get 32.
And then what's the SLI thing that I got that I don't need and I can't use? Well, I mean, I can use it. I just have to get another graphics card.
Do
but
it.
all that
No balls.
all that all that stuff would be. It was like about $5,000. That's the cost of their 28 core processor.
You know what's crazy about that?
$7,000.
Like that price that you're talking about right there, which is one of the things why I love this. So when I got my computer, what did I say, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years ago. And that was all top of the line, right around like 45 something, right? And I didn't get a monitor with it.
Yeah.
So from where I got it to where you got it was like a $600 bump.
Yeah.
Go look at MacBook 8 years ago. It's a couple $1,000, or a Mac Pro a couple $1,000, and now it's $52,000. Like, no, they're like, oh yeah, we're Apple.
Yeah.
We're Apple. Yeezy.
Dude, they could put Rockwell out of business if they went into the game of like HMIs and like replaced them with like iPads, like some sort of new interface.
Yeah.
They would put everybody out of business.
They could.
They might have
And
to
I
match
think
up. with
I
somebody.
really think eventually everything is going to be. I strongly believe that it's going to be a huge transition, and it's probably going to be. I probably won't ever see it, but I think everything's going to go to. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
No.
You haven't seen Idiocracy? Oh my god. Okay, everything's Costco, right? I think eventually everything is going to be like so. You got Siemens, you got Rockwell, you have Omron, Keyence, all these like things like that, right? And that's an untouched market for kind of. All those panel views run on Windows.
Yeah.
They're all Windows.
Yeah.
But they're Allen Bradley. So if Windows is like, you know what? We got this monitor all in one. You can run whatever you want. Then boom, panel views gone. Because guess what? Everybody knows how to use Windows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to use Windows and Mac. Windows and Mac. Windows and Mac. So when you can sit there and have the dude that's doing the controls just sit on a Windows computer and do his thing, and then it's as easy as a HMI cord instead of all this networking and stuff like that. I think Ethernet's going to be a thing of the past, maybe a generation after us, but I don't think that's going to last that long.
Just Bluetooth and the signal.
Yeah, Bluetooth signal is gone.
Yeah.
Cat 5, Cat 6. Cat 6 was the stupidest thing ever. Like, Cat 6 is no faster than Cat 5. I don't care what anybody says. The wire is harder to pull.
Yeah.
It's a thing of the past. It's all going to, like you were talking about earlier with our parents never thought like the video games and this and that was going to go there. And that was a downfall of them as a generation. Us, I think, and like Tesla was telling Elon Musk was telling Joe Rogan about the neuro thing. He's like, either you're with it or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And I really think that's where, even in the factories and the plants, Windows and Mac are going to be everywhere. You're going to see, we're going to open up a panel and see an Apple VFD, or you're going to see Arduino and Raspberry Pi. You're going to start hiring people like, not to sound pretentious, like me, that have messed around with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis, and I can do, I showed you the app on my phone.
Yeah.
I can sit there and take an Arduino and make a PLC. I can program the entire thing on my phone, shove that thing in there, plug the wires up to it, boom. The only thing is Arduino hasn't reached as many, say, inputs and outputs that we need for something like Owens Corning.
Yeah.
But something like Hino, each individual machines, I think the most inputs and outputs you would need per machine there is probably like 64. Some of them are like 100 plus inputs and outputs, but completely doable. And if you don't have enough inputs and outputs on the Arduino itself, you can change it up and add an Arduino to the Arduino. that really cheap, which Mac is not cheap, but Arduino, Windows, stuff like that. And Allen Bradley, factories are getting so mad at them because of this version thing.
Yeah.
Last year, this thing worked, but I just updated my Studio 5000, and now I got to upgrade this. Like, nah.
Yeah.
And then Windows 10 screwed a lot of factories up because Windows. Did they stop supporting Windows 7 yet?
Not yet. Even Owens Corning, I think, put out like an email saying that they were. Oh no, they definitely haven't because we still use Windows 7.
No, we still use Windows 7, but Windows no longer patches. Or updates Windows 7.
I thought you were talking about Rockwell stuff.
No, Rockwell wants you to still have XP, dude. Like, XP stopped in like 2013, 2014 because like everything Army was Windows XP. And they're like, oh shit. Windows came out with like, out of nowhere, Windows like, hey, in 3 months, nope, no more service packs for Windows XP. And we're like, oh. So everybody started upgrading to Windows 7. And by the time the Army got around to Windows 7, it's like Windows 8.
Yeah. And
then Windows 8 was garbage. And I don't think anybody ever actually, unless they got the computer with Windows 8.
Windows 8 was like an uh-oh. Like,
it was a big uh-oh. And Windows 10, the reason they put out that for free is to fix
8.
The uh-oh. Yeah. You know, they're like, hey, Windows 10, free. Fix it.
Our bad.
Yeah. They came out with the 8.1. And the 8.1 was the big fix for it. And then not enough people started with the 8.1, so they went for the Windows 10 free, which is really cool because to this day, Windows 10 is free. It's the first time Windows has ever put out a free operating system. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, they're making a killing, though. Like, they've got schools and businesses. I've heard of some schools are using all Macs, but...
Covington.
Really?
They're using...
Yeah, when I was in Covington, we had, those colorful Macs with the orange and blue backs.
Yeah.
Different generations here. All of our computers in Covington, when I was in CIAA, Covington Integrated Arts Academy, they had it was a brand new school when I went. It was they just built it, and it was like a different type of teaching, and it's a really good school. Probably one of the best schools in Tucson County I ever went to. But their computer lab was all those orange and blues and reds and pink MacBooks with the real deep backs on them and stuff. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, he's not a part of the. I was about to say Bill Gates is getting his money, but he ain't a part of it anymore. But
Bill Gates has made $283 million since the coronavirus happened.
Man,
conspiracy.
Imagine being rich and wealthy at this point in time and like not having to work. Like all these people are like in turmoil.
Well, it's like the celebrities singing the songs like we're all in this together. Like, no, we are not.
Y'all are in a different.
Like, get out of here.
We might be in the same storm, but y'all are in a yacht and we're in paddle boats.
All these celebrities doing these fundraisers on the internet, like, hey, let's raise money. And like the fundraiser they done raised like $1.2 million. It's like, or we could have just not wasted anybody's time and you could have gave that one. I'm against that. But at the same time, the hypocrisy, right? So I'm against if you make more money, you got to pay more money. I'm 100. That takes away freedom of market. It takes away capitalism. It takes away the thing that makes America America. Like once America was established, we are the leader of the freaking world in everything. Right after World War II. World War II, Hitler, they were a leader. They were coming up highways, cars, this, that, rockets. Then get out of here, Hitler. And then we became the leader. Us in Japan, which let's not talk about Japan. I love Japan. But they became a leader in technology. We became a leader in technology. South Korea became a leader in technology.
Korea is wild.
South Korea is, that's Samsung. That is Samsung. But if you look at a lot of the engineers, they're from Japan and America. A lot of like the user, a lot of things that are like good for the people is America, Japan, South. Like, what has Russia ever done? What has China done? China can make a lot of little things.
Russia's got some crazy people, but like inventions,
they don't do it. China, what inventions comes out of China besides coronavirus?
They just take everybody else's inventions and then manufacture
it. They reverse engineer it and manufacture it. Yeah. And that's why, like, if you look at the real free areas, Japan, very free. South Korea, very free. America, very free. Canada, fake. Yeah.
Want to be Americans.
Yeah, want to be American. They pretty much are America at this point because they say so much in our politics, like, it's like, come on down that border. But like the real free, up to date world, like Mexico's free, but it's almost third world at this point. But you look at like what we do with a free market, and as much as people are like, why has he got billions of dollars? Look at where Bill Gates started.
Yeah.
Look at where Jeff Bezos started. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an immigrant.
Yeah.
He was not born in America.
Yeah.
And so he is a prime example of the American dream. They're like, he's got too much money. He's an example. Like, he is.
Y'all had a head start.
Yeah. And I think Elon Musk is a really good example of a centrist. Just like I think Joe Rogan's a really good centrist. But Joe Rogan, I think, is. Love Joe Rogan. But he's situationally influenced. If he's around a real liberal person, yeah. If he's around a real conservative person, yeah. And like, if you look at it, it's funny. So he had Elon Musk on, right? Elon Musk talking about moving to Texas, this and that. The very next episode, Joe Rogan's like, yeah, I want to move to Texas. It's like, hey, we watched it yesterday. No, don't be copying people.
He talks about moving to like.
He's leaving YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that.
So $100 million contract to be Spotify exclusive.
So how
with video?
So they're posting the videos through Spotify.
The whole podcast is going to be on Spotify now in video, but they still are going to have JRE clips on YouTube.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and I think in September is when that starts. So they're still going to they're going to be doing the transition till then. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if YouTube knew I mean,
they're like, what? Somebody called you.
Well, I mean, that's as big as when that ninja streamer on Twitch every day, biggest streamer ever, like milestone, was this streamer to be, I'm leaving Twitch and going to this service that nobody uses for this service, which I can't remember. He went to Mixer, which is a Microsoft Twitch. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they paid him, I want to say it was more than $100 million, which I think more people watch Joe Rogan than watch Ninja on Twitch.
Jesus.
But they paid like $300 million to go.
Have you ever watched one of his streams? Like, you can YouTube him streaming and like
Ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are sending him $200, $600.
It's ridiculous.
$2,000 just to watch him play video
Dude,
games.
like not to sound sexist here, if I had like titties and stuff, I'd be on Twitch.
I
would be on Twitch.
I'm thinking about getting titties. Just
yeah, right. Yeah, I'll just wear a mask. Get some like fake titties.
Yeah.
Hey, but yeah.
I've been thinking about Rachel getting fake titties so we can start.
That was another big thing that PewDiePie got in trouble for. Or not in trouble, but like the little white knights of the internet. He had called out her name's Alinity. Alinity. She's a streamer on Twitch, and but she's one of the ones that like pumps in things in the camera.
Yeah.
Gets all pretty and like not even really playing the game's there.
Yeah.
But she's not playing matches and stuff. She's like just flirting with the chat and this and that. Get the money.
She like puts the controller down. It's not even playing it.
She's just like doing like this and talking back and forth, and we'll
turns into an OnlyFans account.
Exactly. Yeah. Nowadays. Yeah. Well, PewDiePie calls her a Twitch thought.
Oh snap!
And the reason it blew up though was actually in his favor. So it blew up a little bit, but Alinity seen it, and she was like caught on stream because she was on stream. Then somebody in the chat told her about the video that PewDiePie said that, and she's like, "Can we copyright strike him?" And so she was about to copyright strike him because he used the internet. They were like mad at PewDiePie for calling her Twitch thought.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "Hold on, no, you cannot do that. You cannot copyright strike somebody. They didn't copyright anything."
Yeah.
But she's like, I guess her lawyer there, like her boyfriend's her lawyer or something like that. Like he's a law dude. And when she said that, saying that on the stream just screwed whatever case she thought she was going to have.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Fair use, right? So like if I took this podcast and I made a video out of it and I used clips of this video to tell my reaction and stuff like that, that's not I'm not doing it. As long as it's as long as it's transformative in nature, I think is the verbiage that it used. So I can use your stuff as long as it is transformative in nature to where it is no longer yours, it's mine.
That's why Joe stopped doing the live podcast. He said that people were taking the clips while they were live and like turning them into like whatever they wanted to do and posting them.
Yeah.
And then they could do it because they were live podcasts. So he stopped doing live podcasts because of that.
I think nowadays with YouTube the way that it is, we need to go back to that law. If somebody, because you see it a lot now, reaction videos, they'll have the whole thing playing and they're just in the bottom left corner. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Collecting them views.
Yeah, collecting them, and it's like that's not transformative in nature. Like, get out of here. When you're taking the clip, like I take the sentence that you said, I reply to the sentence, something like this, or like with the PewDiePie thing, he played like a 10-second clip. It was Twitch fails. It was some Twitch fail compilation. She had done something stupid, and he's like, "Oh, she's just a Twitch thought." And then, but because that little clip was in there, she's going to try to copyright strike him, and then the internet swarm. That's transformative in nature. Using like coming up with a fail compilation, be like. Pokimane, she's another chick on Twitch. She's like, and then it's like, oh, she spilled spaghetti on her keyboard. That's a Twitch fail. She just fell on a live stream. I took that clip. I made it almost like an America's Funniest Videos thing. You know, nobody's copyrighting striking AFV, which we should.
Which is kind of wild, right?
Right?
They definitely they took something that nobody was doing and then like they made it their own thing. And
they literally were like, hey, send me your video.
Yeah.
We're going to make millions. You can have a chance to make this. Like, what?
Yo, they were the ultimate cons back then.
I didn't even think about that. Just now, they're like, yeah, send us a video. We're going to make $1 million per episode. Give it a season. And you could win $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take a little vacation to Hawaii.
They were cons, man.
What was the dude? Bob Saget was okay when he done it, but the main guy of our generation that hosted it, I can't remember his name. It's a really funny dude.
What's his name from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Carlton Banks.
He just started doing it. Like, well, not just started doing it, but he's been
Talking
doing
about the dude before him?
Yeah.
Oh,
our
shoot.
generation, like
I
when
don't
we were
know.
kids, the old white dude.
I don't know.
Carlton started doing it like 2012.
Oh, I know who you're
2013.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So was Bob before or after the guy you're talking about?
Bob Saget was before.
So he was before. Then there's the
Bob Saget done Full House and AFV at the same time.
Oh, okay. So then there was this the other dude. With
the old tall white guy. Yeah.
Okay. And then it was what is his real name? It's not Carlton Banks because that's his name in the show.
I have no idea. I know you're talking about, and I could probably think of his name, but not right now. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about though.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, AFV, like that was literally a fail compilation that we got to watch on TV.
But the thing is, so many people took that concept when YouTube blew up.
Yeah.
You got Ray Williams Johnson, you got Tosh.0, you got Joel McHale, but reality shows. So many people took that. I'm going to be comedic and show all of this other property that isn't mine, but people send it to me or I'm using it because it's transformative in nature. Like I said, that needs to be revisited.
Yeah.
Now in today's world, that needs to be revisited. Because if I'm just sitting in the bottom left corner of the screen the whole time going, no, that's not transformative in nature.
My favorite two copies in history are Daniel Tosh making fun of Rob Dyrdek, saying that he stole his show, Ridiculousness. That's hilarious. Yep. And then also Dave Chappelle saying that Key and Peele are basically doing his show. That's pretty funny to me. Because, I mean, they're very similar. They're different.
Dave Chappelle explains it like they found some black folks that'll fold. Like, that's what he said. Because Dave Chappelle, the way he actually has explained it in multiple interviews, and he even talked about like now he's doing tours again. I see him at the Grand Ole Opry, or not the Grand Ole Opry, dumbass. What's that? The place in Memphis.
The Orpheum?
Orpheum. There you go. Why did I call it the Grand Ole Opry?
I don't know.
That's Nashville, ain't it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Grand Ole Opry's got a really cool garden. They got flooded way back when. That's Nashville. Now that I said other stories, it's in Nashville. Anyways, the Orpheum. I seen him 1 month, and I seen Bill Burr like 2-3 months later. But Dave Chappelle, he's talking about it. He's like, so, because a bunch of white people here in the South, there was black people in the stands, but he's like, so all you white people wondering where I went. I heard a lot of you saying I went to Africa. He's like talking. He's like, well, no. He's like, I had my show on Comedy Central. They let me do that first episode, which was the episode the white community loved. That was the black white supremacist episode.
Yeah.
He's like, well, they started trying to censor me. And he said I wasn't going to be censored. We argued with this and that. And he actually said in one of the Netflix ones, and he did on this one. I didn't know he repeated the joke, that asshole. I just now realized it. But so he was talking to one of the execs of Comedy Central. And they told him he can't say the bundle of sticks word. And he said, why? I say the N word all the time. And they're like, well, you're not an F word. And he's like, well, you know what? I'm not an N word either. And then gone. And I'm like, to me, I think that is one of the, if you can't make fun of one thing, you can't make fun of any of them.
Yeah.
To sit there and say, you can say it, but you can't say this. That infringes on the freedom of speech. Yeah. Now, if somebody's just being absolutely hateful, eventually they're going to get their ass kicked. Yeah. But if I get invited on the stage by a rapper and I'm singing their song and I go, I don't expect a flashback from it,
Also, you have to think about how times have changed. So, I mean, I'm going to get to the point. So, mixed races, like
allow it to change.
That was not so much of a thing back in the 1700s. Like, there weren't too many people who were mixed. Now somebody's mixed. So, like, I've got friends who are half black, half white. But then I've got some friends who, like, their grandparents were half black, half white. But then their parents are, like, the half black with another white. So now they're, like, a quarter black. So it's like, what's safe to say,
what that right there, what you're literally saying right there, I think is to show that right now, to the biggest part that saddens me is from my upbringing, I feel like racism is becoming more relevant because people are acting like there was this really hard racism. Like, you're always going to have cities in poverty. You're always going to have people that are racist. That's I don't care what we do.
Forever.
There's going to be racist.
Forever.
When I was growing up in school, it was within like Mumford and Millington, Covington, stuff like that. It's very integrated community. So you got almost 50-50 of black and white. And I never once felt like me being a white dude means I can't hang out with this black dude.
Yeah.
I never felt that. Going into the Army, never felt that. Got out of the Army in 2015, and then all of a sudden I see us going to, I see in the Facebook comments, black people trashing white people as a whole. I see white people trashing black people, but at the same time, it's because I feel like they're just being defensive. I feel like white people are like, well, it's not a racism thing. He was being a criminal.
Yeah.
They're trying to explain, like, I'm not racist. It was this. But at the same time, they're trying to say, and so now that divide is getting insane because but if you go down to like a level, like hanging out in the break room, I don't argue with nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging me. But you go to that media level and the social media, because you have those little edgy people. They're like, you know what? Like this. That's not white power.
Yeah.
That was 4chan. That was people like, guess what we can do?
Yeah.
Boom. And people feed on it. The news media, like I was telling you the other day. So I found out a new thing I got to be scared about.
Yeah, right.
Nobody was scared. Oh, all these people are angry about this. Nobody was angry until they released an article that said all these people are angry about this, and now you're angry. It's like, no. The statues, the Confederate statues, whether they're up or down, no difference on me.
What was that, in Virginia?
Virginia. Nobody cared
or
about those statues. There was no protest. There was no papers. I can't remember what news. I'll pull up the story. There was not a single thing spoken about that statue until there was this local news publisher that put out, a lot of people are angry about the statue.
Yeah.
Dude, people cross going to work. Nobody ever said anything.
Yeah.
It's. I don't even think it represented anything at that point. And the thing is, if somebody wants to be happy for they're from the South, be happy for they're from the South. As long as they're expressing it in a way that is, I'm from the South, not like I want to fight for slavery.
Yeah.
Let people be people. That's the great thing about America. If they're being racist, punch them.
That was the point of America.
Yeah, now if somebody's actively coming out racist, if somebody's coming out systematic, if somebody's saying, we need to do this to get them out of our neighborhood, beat their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a freedom of speech, but you have a freedom of reaction.
Yeah.
I don't think the divide was near as bad until the media.
I like that freedom of reaction.
Yeah. I don't think the divide was this bad growing up. And I really don't believe that I was just blind to it. That's what a lot of people say, like, oh, you just never noticed. You were blind. No, I'm a very aware person growing up the entire way through. When I went to Mississippi, I was 16, 17 years old. My dad, my older brother, 3 white dudes went to an all-black party. There's like 50, 60 people. Not once were we treated like, oh, what are these white guys doing here? From Mississippi. I never seen the divide until when I got out of the Army, and every news article is, this guy was shot by cops, this happened, the Confederate statues, the Confederate flag, this and that. And it's, if there's nothing to complain about, people are going to start complaining. People get bored. And I feel like America's been spoiled for a long time. And so we have to find things to argue about, to fight about. Like if you put a man and a woman that are in a happy relationship, you go and throw them in a house and you quarantine them, they're going to start fighting. Everybody does that. Since 9/11, even whether you agree or disagree with the war, we haven't had anything to fight about. Boom. Now we're fighting over stupid stuff. And it's saddening. That's one of the things that really gets me going. As I don't believe we were divided in America 10 years ago. I don't believe Obama created... A lot of people try to blame Obama for the division. It's not. It's media. Media needs people to click the links. Media needs people to watch the videos on YouTube. And so they come out with those headlines. And nowadays, people read the headline, don't even watch the article or read the article. So as long as they can word that headline correctly, people share it. People blow it up. People, oh, this and that. And I can see a group of people in a bar, liberal, conservative, getting along just fine. On Facebook, dude shares an article, the other guy comes in there, and then they're fighting tooth and nail. Why? Like y'all were just fine at the bar. Don't let that article that says, Trump said, grab him by the, whatever.
Man, it's wild just seeing like,
seeing the ramble there. Yeah.
Oh no, just like seeing the contrast of articles, like not so much just how crazy they are, but then the contrast of it. Like some will say,
like same story, like what these guys say to what these guys say.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be talking about even the pandemic. They'll be talking about how I just saw one that was talking about, what was it talking about? It was something about how like the death tolls are like, the CDC. The CDC said something about how they just found out that the virus doesn't spread well on surfaces.
I seen that.
I was like,
when that came out?
When?
March.
Really?
Yeah, that's an old article. It came out March 3rd, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked at it first. Yeah.
And again,
that's why you got to open it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those headlines. It's just like, hey, here's this headline. We know you're going to take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that they just do. The media is just criminals.
Media is very much criminal. I got to pee. But media is super criminal. So
you're gonna
around the end,
you're going to figure out how to talk.
I feel like I'm rambling.
Go ahead.
Media is terrible.
Straight down the left? Yes, straight down and then to your left. She got the lights on? The lights off? I'm going to turn the lights on. I got a Google Home, so I can
That's awesome.
turn the lights on.
I don't even know if I should trust those things.
What? What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, I heard that they can listen into your conversations, and it kind of, like, weirded me out.
Okay, so it does.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were, me and Rachel were just, like, talking one time, and then, like, my Google just started, like, trying to Google search what we were talking about. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But even Siri, like, sometimes I'll start saying stuff, and then Siri will, like, think I'm talking to her, and I'm just like, there was nothing I said that sounded like Siri. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I mean, it's really cool though. So like I can control, it depends on how many light bulbs I have in the house that are smart bulbs. So I've got 4 in the living room, and then we've got 4 in the bedroom, and that might be it. And then I have 4 Google Home, like Google Minis, but I think I only have 2 connected right now. We have 1 in the living room and 1 in the bedroom. But, I mean, it's cool because, like, so say if you plan on going to sleep and you're leaving the living room and the lights are on, you can just say, hey, Google, turn off the living room lights. And then she'll turn off the living room lights. And then you could go like, hey, Google, turn on the TV. And then it'll turn on the TV and stuff like that. Or turn off the TV, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, but how much does that cost?
Oh, yeah.
You cut the lights with your
Yeah, I cut them
That's
off.
dope.
Turn them off.
That is dope. I was like, well, I was going to like one of those.
She says she don't trust it.
I mean, it's pretty cool, though. It's worth it. I mean, our phone listens to us anyway
Yeah.
with all the ads that come on.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't know. I think technology is definitely trending in the right way. Some people don't like it, and they fear it. People fear change. People fear different.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like it, though. I like being able to control everything from my phone. Some people are like, oh, that mumbo jumbo. Like Ron, who did you don't ever hang around, but so Ron still uses like his like cash, like for everything. Like he doesn't use a debit card. Like I think he was talking about how he just started using one or something like that. I was like, no. Like you will not, like that's how people get robbed is by holding cash. Like stop it.
I think the only time I ever use cash is like just person to person stuff. Like if I'm gonna buy your car,
or like on Facebook or something. You buy something from somebody on Facebook or eBay or whatever. Somebody's Craigslist, cash. Yeah. But because most people don't have a chip reader, or they might not have Cash App or PayPal or whatever. But you can just give them cash.
So being afraid of technology, that biblical journal you were talking about. I got an advertisement for that like 15 minutes later at the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, no, whether you have a Google Home or anything like that, your I don't know, your phone, if you have one of those, there's no excuse not to have the rest. It's all listening,
Yeah. Well, man, it's been awesome. Probably have to wrap this up. I usually in this, so I'm usually having on like musicians and stuff like that, but do you have anything to advertise or anything?
I don't do nothing. Like right now, I do a lot of stuff, but nothing that anybody could ever look at. Like right now, like I'm working on a game. It'll probably be like a year and a half. Right now, my timeline has it sitting at a year and a half. I don't even have a name for the game. I'm just coding. Yeah, I don't have anything to like shout out. Nothing.
Well, if you like really intriguing arguments and stuff like that, go find Ryan on Facebook. Ryan Walker, but he it was like I posted something one time and then you started the conversation about it, but that's like I get upset when people don't talk on my Facebook. Like I do it on purpose. Like I want you to have a conversation.
Fight, peasants.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, I run a podcast. I like for people to talk about stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I love. I don't know. I just like for people to talk. I like for people to communicate. That's part of being human. We evolve by communicating. So,
100%, 100% ideas, clash of ideas. That's why, like I was saying earlier, the divide, like the thing. If people just talk, we'll all be okay.
Yeah.
Well, those are Yamaha. Those are Yamaha. I think you told me that. Yeah.
Oh, the
speakers. I just seen the logo. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you stuff after this, but. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time. Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast. And if you would, hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button allows you to, subscribe to the podcast. And if you give me a like and give me a comment, that would help out as well. Commenting allows you to have a conversation with me, and liking it allows me to know that you actually like it. And if you dislike it, hit the dislike button twice. That's a real help out for me. So, comment, like, subscribe, and let's keep it rolling.